Alright, everyone. So I'm starting up something new today. Don't know how long I'm gonna stick to it, but I wanted to try it. So I've kind of developed a pretty significant backlog of games over the past couple of years that I just haven't gotten to, especially kind of more the retro games. And I wanted to make an effort to kind of start tackling some of those games, even if it's just like play for 3 hours and then put it away and don't touch it again. But I still wanted to do something that was going to get me to start playing more games instead of playing basically one game over the course of 6 months, which I'd gotten into the habit to, and I'm missing my youth where I'd grind out games in like a couple weeks to a month. So to do that, I'm starting up a new series. I'm calling it the Mildly Obscure Games. Um, the idea is to every 1 to 2 weeks, whenever I really feel like it, I pick up and play a game that maybe you've heard of, but probably never seen or played before. Um, so when I say that, like I'm including in the entire like games list, I'm including like original arcade games and console games, possibly some PC, but probably not if I'm being honest with myself. I'm not a big PC gaming nerd, especially like those old PC games. Um, some indie games on Steam, uh, import games, including fan translations of Japanese only games. I have a pretty decent sized collection of fan translated Japanese RPGs that I really want to play, but I just like have never gotten around to. And along with that, also ROM hacks. A lot of games have pretty significant ROM hacking scenes that I've never really experienced. Um, but I wanted to kind of try out and see if I would enjoy some of the ROM hacks. So, like, I think after the episode I do today, after this, I might try a ROM hack game. I've got one in mind. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to play it, but I'll bring it up in a second. Um, Now, when I play these games, obviously, like, I don't really want to play emulated, but I might have to, just because I don't really have a good way to playing them, especially like a ROM hack N64 game, uh, unless you have a like the Mister Core like just finally got like all features put into it, but it's still not perfect. And I'm sure many people know N64 emulation is kind of sussy a bit. So like really the only way I could accurately play a ROM hack on the N64 is if I bought an EverDrive and put the game on the EverDrive and played it on original hardware. But I'd have to buy an EverDrive to do that, and I'm not going to do that. I don't have a good reason for an EverDrive for N64. So some games I'll have to emulate, but most of the games I think I'm probably going to end up playing. Pull that up here. So this is a analog pocket. This is an FPGA device. FPGA. I just made that like 3 letters every time I said it. Device. What it does is it replicates the original hardware using an FPGA, which is a bunch of different logic chips. So it's not like software emulation. It's more like hardware emulation. It's not really a thing to call it hardware emulation, but that's what I'm going to call it because that's the easiest way to explain it. So essentially, it's just like recreating the original hardware via logic circuits. Um, in the end, you get something that's basically almost identical one to one to the original hardware, but you can also like put in different features like upscalers and such, which is what we're going to do with this. I have a dock to the side that I'm not going to pull out because I'd have to actually pull it out that I'm going to be playing off of. So all the games are essentially being played on this, but they're going to go through a dock that goes through my capture card that you all can watch. But yeah, most of the games will be played on this. Um, I also have a handful of Switch games that I have connected through my setup, along with a couple of indie titles on Steam that I've looked into and had some positive experiences with that I'll put more time into, I suppose. Uh, my long-term plan is to get a setup where I can actually go back to my original consoles, which are like on the other side of my room over there, and get a nice setup for streaming them as well. The only issue is like I'd just be playing straight games off them right now. I have to do some upgrades to actually like play like ROM hacks and fan translations of, which I could do. It would just take me some effort. I know a couple of ways I could get it done for PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and I think I can get some Genesis up and running. But I need to look into that a bit. Not Genesis, I meant Dreamcast. I need to look into that a bit more. So you're going to see a little bit of everything here. Like literally, when I say arcade games and console games, you're going to see a little bit of everything here. So let me go ahead and I'll open up the list. Doop. So I have this list of about 140, 50, 150 games right now that I can play off my current setup. Again, some of them I can play off like original hardware, like the Viscera Collection Timeless, the Timeless version split into two games. Not actually a good example. Let me see if I can find a better example. So I can play Dragon Blaze, but it's going to be emulated off of the Psycho Shooting Stars Alpha, which is actually very good emulation, but it's still emulation that's being played off the Switch. Or I can have actual like playing the game, like Langrisser 1 and 2 remakes. That's an actual cartridge I own for the Switch. I can play that. But the vast majority of these games, so like basically everything from here through here, I'm mostly going to be playing through my Analog Pocket. Just because that's the best way to play them. I actually like don't even own a Super Nintendo, but I have a decent number of games that I have ripped the ROMs off of, and I can do ROM hacks on. Which most of these here are actually ROM hacks. So I'm kind of interested to try some of these, particularly like Bahamut Lagoon and Energy Breaker. Ought to be pretty fun. I do have some arcade hardware. So, like, for example, I have Aero Fighters 2, but the ROMs on that game is bad. I also have Prehistoric Isle 2, which is a fairly rare MVS game, and I know it works pretty well, so I'll probably play that at some point. And, like I said, a decent number of arcade games, arcade CPS 1, CPS 2 games, and then at the bottom here has some System 16 stuff from Sega in Fantasy Zone, RL, and Cotton. So I've got this nice list here. The list is going to grow. The idea being I'm going to pick a game off this list, play it for 3 hours, and if it's like a longer game, like an RPG, I'll probably play it over a handful of weeks till either I've beaten it or I'm kind of sick of it and I want to move on to something else. I will note I probably will not play the same game more than 3 weeks in a row. I'll probably rotate in a game for that 4th week before I go back to the previous game, just to like add some variety, because this is a lot of variety if you're looking over this list. You've got an action RPG in Sword of Mana. You have a horizontal shoot 'em up in Pro Gear. You have whatever the hell you want to call Cross Swords, because I don't really have a name for that. That's just some weird-ass arcade game that I can't explain to people. A ROM hack of Paper Mario, a ROM hack of Quest 64, translation of Energy Breaker. I have ROM hacks for both, not both, Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6. Pretty popular ROM hacks that are like very different ways to play those games. So it's all kind of interesting stuff, and like I said, a handful of Steam games that I think a lot of people haven't heard of, but are kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna like kind of slowly go through this list. I'm gonna add more to the list as I go along, and we'll just see how long I go about this. So let's move on to the next part where I talk about the first game we're gonna play.